Gu Yongxi, Gu Qingchen. 3 months later, seeing that the baby in Zhang Liangxin's belly was getting closer to birth, Gu Changqing had already named them. The daughter was named Gu Yunxi. The son was named Gu Qingchen. Gu Yongxi was the elder sister, and Gu Qingchen was the younger brother. Well, it was decided happily. In the past 3 months, Gu Changqing, who had obtained the Chaos Sword body, had cultivated at a speed far beyond what he had ever achieved before. In just 3 months, he had broken through from the original 4th level of the True Spirit to the current 9th level of the True Spirit. Perfect. Only 1 step away from the Tribulation Realm, it was a very fast progress. Even Zhang Liangxin, who had the Holy Bone, was frightened by Gu Changqing's terrifying cultivation speed. Even she, who had the mysterious Ice Holy Bone, had only improved by 2 levels in the past 3 months, from the 1st level of the Tribulation Realm to the 3rd level of the Tribulation Realm. Although it is said that as the realm becomes higher, it will become more and more difficult to practice. But this is too outrageous. Zhang Liangxin's practice speed is already very terrifying, but compared with Gu Changqing, Zhang Liangxin suddenly felt an inexplicable frustration. Fortunately, this is her husband, Sinner. I plan to go to the 10,000 Demon Sea after breaking through the Calamity Realm. That day Gu Changqing said to Zhang Liangxin after finishing his practice. As the realm becomes higher, the practice resources in the clan are no longer enough to support his subsequent practice. The Gu family is just a small city family and can't support Gu Changqing's huge consumption. Not only herself, but also Zhang Liangxin. If she was in the Zhang family, her practice speed would definitely be faster than in the Gu family. In addition, her children are not far from being born, and she has to prepare some elixir baths for them. When they are born, medicinal baths, elixirs, imperial level skills, plus their own qualification. Wow. Before, they were not strong enough to venture out, but now they are only 1 step away from the realm of disaster. This is just the realm. As for strength, Gu Changqing himself does not know his own strength, and what level of strongman he is equivalent to. Only after fighting with the corresponding strongman can he know. In addition, in the past 3 months, in addition to cultivation, Gu Changqing has not given up alchemy and has refined a lot of pills. Although limited by the low grade of medicinal materials in the clan, he still refined a lot of elixirs. And with the addition of the Qinghuo Dan body, the refined pills are almost all Danwen level, enough to sell a lot of spirit stones. Well, Sinner is pregnant, so it is inconvenient for her to go with her husband. Otherwise, I would like to go out with my husband. Zhang Liangxin nodded, touched her slightly bulging belly, and her face was full of happiness. Gu Changqing smiled, hugged Zhang Liangxin in his arms, and patted her shoulder gently. There will be plenty of time after the 2 little guys are born. A week later, Gu Changqing successfully broke through the Tribulation Realm. For Gu Changqing, who has a Chaos Sword body, the barriers of the Tribulation Realm are completely different. It came naturally, and he broke through directly without any difficulty. This made Zhang Liangxin envious again. The Tribulation Realm is already among the strong in the Han and Qin empires. Next, you need to survive 9 Thunder Tribulations, and each of the 9 Thunder Tribulations is more difficult than the last, but every time you survive a Thunder Tribulation, your strength will increase greatly. But this realm is also the most dangerous one. Under the Thunder Tribulation, those who survive will live and step into a higher realm. Once you fail to survive the Tribulation, you may be killed by the Thunder Tribulation. Therefore, the strong in the Tribulation Realm dare not easily try to break through before they are sure. This is why this realm is called the Tribulation Realm, after 9 Thunder Tribulations. He was promoted to the 1st realm of the King Realm, the Xuanwang Realm. That is the true king of a region. He can go anywhere in the world. He can establish a sect and become the master of a sect. Before leaving, Gu Changqing informed his father Gu Yuan. Gu Yuan did not stop him. Gu Changqing did not hide too much about his own cultivation, so Gu Yuan knew his current realm. Gu Changqing did not elaborate on the reason for his rapid progress, only saying that he seemed to have suddenly awakened a certain talent. It was not that Gu Changqing did not want to say it, but it was a system matter that could not be said, and Gu Changqing did not intend to tell anyone, including Zhang Liangxin. It was not a question of trust or not. This was his biggest secret, and only he knew it. The Wanyao Sea, located in the south of the Han and Qin empires, bordered 7 or 8 empires, and the Han and Qin empire was one of them. The Wanyao Sea is extremely dangerous, and there are many king-level monsters. Even human king-level monsters dare not easily set foot in it. But this is limited to the deep sea area. The monsters in the deep sea rarely appear in the shallow sea area, so the shallow sea area has become the border area of these, the paradise of countless warriors and adventurers in the empire. Therefore, many trading places were born, and Haiyu Island was one of them. Haiyu Island is also one of the islands closest to the Han and Qin empires, and it is also Gu Changqing's destination this time. Above the blue sea, Gu Changqing walked in the air at a very fast speed. This scene also attracted the attention of many cultivators and adventurers below. Walking in the air, a king-level strongman, many people were shocked, and at the same time, they also cast envy. King-level strongmen, walking in the world, are respected no matter where they are. Looking at the entire Nangshu and Shenzhou, they are all real strongmen. Walking in the air is the symbol of a king-level strongman. Only a king-level strongman who can drive the power of heaven and earth for his own use can do this. However, what they don't know is that Gu Changqing is not a king level at all. The reason why he can fly in the air is all thanks to the Juxian sword formation. Gu Changqing, who is in the sword formation, is the master of this world. And walking in the air is naturally a piece of cake. The sword formation will move with Gu Changqing. So as long as Gu Changqing keeps the Juxian sword formation open, he can fly in the air like a king-level strongman. It's just that the Juxian sword formation consumes a lot of spiritual power in the body. But even so, Gu Changqing is too lazy to take those Chamber of Commerce sea boats, which are not only troublesome, but also slow. At worst, when the spiritual power is almost exhausted, he can find a place to recover for a day or two. Roar! Suddenly, Gu Changqing, who was flying in the air, heard a deafening roar. Gu Changqing looked over and saw a huge monster at the connection between the sea and the sky, rushing towards his direction at a high speed. This is a king-level monster. Gu Changqing was a little surprised. You have to know that the sea area he is in is a shallow sea area. Generally speaking, the probability of a king-level monster appearing in a shallow sea area is very low. Yes, the probability of a demon king appearing in the shallow sea area is too low. If you can encounter one, it is no lower than the probability of Gu Changqing buying a lottery ticket on Earth in his previous life. Well, and the lottery ticket was bought in China. However, no matter how low it is, it can't be 0%. I just didn't expect that I would actually encounter it. Hey, just in time. There was no fear, only excitement. In the past few days, Gu Changqing encountered many demon beasts along the way, but most of them were in the true spirit realm, and there were few in the tribulation realm. Gu Changqing has always wanted to try. What level of strength is he at? Compared with the real Xuanwang level strongman, who is stronger and who is weaker, but I haven't found a suitable target. But now, isn't this target here? There are humans. As the Demon King got closer and closer, Gu Changqing could see clearly that the Demon King did not appear in this shallow sea area for no reason, but was chasing a group of human monks. Damn. How could a Demon King level monster appear in the shallow sea area? What kind of luck is this? This is a girl in green clothes, petite and cute, with a silver sword on her back. Seeing that the Demon King was getting closer and closer to her and others, she gradually became desperate. The girl's name is Huang Yingying, an inner disciple of Chengxin Pavilion, and her cultivation is the 4th level of True Spirit. Chengxin Pavilion is a sect in the nearby sea area. The sect is not weak. The Pavilion Master is a half-step King Realm strongman, which is considered one of the top sects in the nearby sea area. This time, the sect organized an outing experience, divided into more than 10 teams, and their team is one of them. The Pavilion Master of Chengxin Pavilion attached great importance to this experience and arranged 2 to 3 Robbery Realm Elders to guard each team. With the protection of the Elders of the Calamity Realm, there shouldn't be any danger. But who would have thought that their team would encounter a king-level monster that is almost impossible to appear in the shallow sea area? Not long ago, 2 Elders of the Calamity Realm tried to sacrifice themselves to delay the escape time for their disciples. But the cruel thing is that the 2 Elders of the Calamity Realm couldn't even stop the Monster King for a moment. With one claw, the 2 Elders of the Calamity Realm couldn't even resist and were directly beaten into a blood mist. The gap between the Calamity Realm and the King level is too big, not to mention the 2 Elders of the Calamity Realm. Even if the Master of the Dust Heart Pavilion was here, he would die in the face of this Xuanwang level Monster King. Not only Huang Yingying, but other juniors of the Dust Heart Pavilion were also extremely desperate. Woo! I just entered the inner gate. A bright future is still waiting for me. I don't want to die. Alas, split up and flee. Whoever can escape is the best. The only remaining elder in the team sighed slightly, stopped, and did not flee again, but went to meet the attacking Demon King, Elder Yang. No. Many disciples of Chengxin Pavilion shouted. Elder Yang usually treats people very well in the sect, no matter whether they are from the inner gate or the outer gate. As long as the disciples ask him for advice, he will not refuse. He is an elder who is deeply loved by the disciples of Chengxin Pavilion. Now, seeing that Elder Yang is also going to meet the Demon King to win a chance for them to survive, many disciples of Chengxin Pavilion even cried out. It's really touching. Gu Changqing's voice gradually sounded. He was not mocking. This scene was indeed very moving. No one wanted to die, and Elder Yang was no exception. But for the sake of his disciples, he still rushed forward without hesitation. As Gu Changqing finished speaking, a pure white sword light instantly blasted out. This sword seemed to pierce through the void and instantly reach the Demon King. The Demon King reacted and sensed the crisis. It instantly raised its arms and tried to block the sword. But, swish, the sword light was like cutting tofu, directly passing through the Demon King, and a deep trench was cut in the sea behind him. The Demon King's huge body was split into 2, and the blood dyed the sea red. At this moment, whether it was Elder Yang, Huang Yingying, or other disciples of a Chengxin Pavilion, their eyes were full of horror. A Demon King at the Xuanwang level, dead, just died like that. That was a demon beast at the Demon King level, an existence comparable to a human king level warrior. Everything happened so fast that they didn't even have time to see clearly. Everyone unconsciously moved their eyes away from the corpse of the Demon King and looked at the handsome young man in white in the air. The sword just now was slashed by him, a powerful king. Standing in the air, he killed the Demon King with one sword. There is no doubt that this young man, who doesn't look very old, is a king-level warrior. What shocked Huang Yingying even more was the age of this king-level warrior. He looked not much older than them, even a little younger. What kind of monster is this? 20 years old, king-level, Xuanwang-level demon king. That's all. Gu Changqing in the air ignored the seeing a ghost expressions of Elder Yang and the disciples of Chenjin Pavilion, and slowly fell to the surface of the sea, putting the corpse of the Demon King into the storage bag. Gu Changqing's storage bag was not small, but it could barely hold the Demon King. The corpse of a Demon King was full of treasures, and it was estimated that it could be sold for a large amount of spirit stones. Gu Changqing was also a little shocked. But what shocked him was his own strength. He originally estimated that he should be around the early stage of Xuanwang, but the battle just now made Gu Changqing surprised, realizing that his strength might be stronger than he expected. Much stronger. Even at the early stage of Xuanwang, he couldn't even block his sword. Chaos Sword Body. I underestimated you? At this time, Elder Yang and the people of Chenjin Pavilion recovered from their previous shock. Elder Yang hurriedly bowed and clasped his fists, thanking Gu Changqing. Thank you for your help, Senior. I am grateful. Thank you for your kindness. Thank you. Huang Yingying and other Chenjin Pavilion disciples also spoke out. Survived a disaster. Just now they thought they were dead. Today's luck can be said to be extremely bad, but also extremely good. If it weren't for this senior in the King Realm who happened to pass by this sea area, they would have died, without a doubt. This is a life-saving grace. It's okay. It's just a small favor. This place has been stained red by the blood of the Demon King. I'm afraid it will attract many demon beasts. You'd better leave quickly. After saying that, Gu Changqing didn't stay any longer. He took a step forward, turned into a stream of light, and disappeared in this sea area. Farewell, Senior. Originally, Elder Yang wanted to take out the valuables on his body and give them to Gu Changqing to thank him for his kindness. But Gu Changqing left instantly after he finished speaking, without giving him a chance to repay. Huang Yingying looked at the direction where Gu Changqing left, and her beautiful eyes were full of admiration. All along, she felt that the eldest brother was already very evil. At the age of only 20, he had cultivated to the 8th level of the true spirit. Looking at the young generation of the major sects in the nearby sea area, he was also among the top geniuses. But, compared with the young man in white just now, this time out for training, she experienced a life and death crisis, and also met a true peerless genius. 20 years old, King Realm, she had never dared to think about it. This person is probably a genius on the green list. Only those monsters on the green list can step into the King Realm at the age of 20, Elder Yang said slowly. He actually had the opportunity to meet a green list genius? Green list genius. Elder Yang. What is the green list? Elder Yang raised his head with a look of yearning. The Spirit Realm. Spirit List is a list of geniuses that includes almost all the geniuses on the Spirit List. There are 1,000 people on the list. Those who can make the list are all geniuses among geniuses and monsters among monsters. 1,000 people. So many. A disciple said in surprise. Elder Yang glanced at him and said unhappily, a lot? Do you know how big the Spirit Realm is? How many people are there? Take the Han-Qin Empire, for example. The population of the Han-Qin Empire alone is as high as hundreds of millions, and an empire like the Han-Qin Empire has hundreds of spirit realms. Now, do you still think it's a lot? The disciple was speechless, looking at it this way. It's indeed not a lot, and it's still a lot. Pitifully little. Is that young man just now the Qingbang Tianzhao? Huang Yingying asked. It's likely that he is, but I'm not sure. After all, we are not inland, and I don't know much about the Qingbang. After several days of flying in the sky, Gu Changqing's spiritual power had been almost exhausted. He found a ship heading to Haiyu Island and landed directly because it was late at night. There were not many people on the deck, so he did not attract anyone's attention. The ship was large, enough to accommodate nearly 10,000 people, and had all kinds of facilities on board, such as inns, tea houses, gambling houses, and brothels. Gu Changqing booked a good guest room and stayed there temporarily, intending to wait until his spiritual power was almost restored before setting off again. In the evening of the next day, Gu Changqing slowly opened his eyes and ended his practice. After taking 2 third-grade wheeling pills, his spiritual power had been restored by more than half, and he would be able to set off again in 1 or 2 days. For him who was used to flying in the sky, the speed of the ship was too slow. As evening came, the sunset gradually set, dyeing the sky red. The ship gradually became lively, with people singing and dancing, and the deck was full of people. Gu Changqing also picked a good seat and ordered a table of food and wine. He hadn't eaten for several days and had been on the road. He wasn't hungry, but he was a little greedy. He had nothing to do, so he went to the brothel to listen to music. Gu Changqing suddenly missed his previous life. There were more than 20 people sitting in the tea house on the 2nd floor, both men and women, and they were all relatively young. Their clothes were all embroidered with the same pattern, and they seemed to be from the same sect. Many people looked at the 2nd floor frequently, their eyes full of envy. This group of people are disciples of Chenjin Pavilion. Chenjin Pavilion, as one of the first-class sects in this sea area, is well known. No matter where the disciples go, they are respected. Among the more than 20 people, there was a girl who was surrounded by stars. She was not very old, and looked only 15 or 16 years old, but everyone seemed to be centered on her, and her status seemed to be very high. Junior sister Gu, you killed 23 sea monsters this time, including 2 of the 5th level of the True Spirit realm. I think the first place is a foregone conclusion, and it must be Junior sister Gu. Yes, if the Deputy Pavilion Master knew, he would definitely be very happy. The praises from the people around made the girl feel a little flattered. Although some of the flattery was a little stiff, she didn't care. She enjoyed the feeling of being the center of attention. The girl's name is Gu Yuexuan, a core disciple of Chengqin Pavilion. If it were just this, people around her wouldn't flatter her like this. Gu Yuexuan also has another identity. That is, the daughter of the Deputy Pavilion Master of Chengqin Pavilion. The Deputy Pavilion Master has no children, only this precious daughter. She has been spoiled by thousands of people since she was a child, and there is no shortage of lickers and flatterers around her. This also cultivated her somewhat unruly character. After scanning the surroundings and finding that there was no sign of a certain junior sister, Gu Yuexuan frowned slightly and said in a somewhat dissatisfied voice, "Where is Gu Qinger? Why hasn't she come back yet? This little bitch. Have I been too nice to her recently?" As she was talking, a girl in plain clothes came up the stairs. Although she was dressed simply, she couldn't hide her stunning beauty. Just talking. "Are you back? Gu Qinger, how are the things selling?" Gu Yuexuan looked at Gu Qinger, who was walking slowly. A hint of jealousy flashed across her eyes, and she sneered. Gu Yuexuan's attitude made her a little scared, so she took out the storage bag in her arm, handed it to Gu Yuexuan, and said weakly, "Sorry, senior sister Gu, I only sold 1/3. Pa? Gu Yuexuan slapped Gu Qinger's pretty face directly. "If you can't even do this little thing, what's the use of you? Why don't you quit? I'll go back and tell my father that a waste like you will only waste resources if you stay in Chengqin Pavilion. Yes, junior sister Gu gave you 3 days, but you only sold 1/3 of it. It's a pity that senior sister Gu trusted you so much and gave this matter to you." Many people around echoed, and several male disciples looked at Gu Qinger, who was beaten, with a hint of pity in their eyes. But no one dared to stand up for her, and they had to echo Gu Yuexuan. 3 days ago, Gu Yuexuan gave Gu Qinger a batch of materials obtained from killing monsters and asked her to sell them at the trading house on the ship. But those materials were indeed a bit too much. In 3 days, how could they be sold out? This was clearly deliberately making things difficult for Gu Qinger. Everyone knew it, but no one dared to say anything more. They just secretly thought that Gu Qinger was unlucky to be assigned to their group. Gu Qinger is just an outer sect disciple, while Gu Yuexuan is the daughter of the vice chairman. They also know why Gu Yuexuan is targeting Gu Qinger. It's nothing more than she is jealous that she looks better than herself. In addition, Gu Yuexuan has a special liking for a senior brother in the sect recently, but the other party was Gu Qinger's pursuer. This made Gu Yuexuan even more upset. "I'm sorry. Senior sister Gu." Gu Qinger covered her slapped cheek, tears flashing in her eyes. Gu Qinger felt wronged, and she naturally knew that Gu Yuexuan was targeting her, but she had no way to do anything. She even had to apologize. The family went through so much trouble to finally send her to Chengqin Pavilion. If she backed out, how could she be worthy of the family? How could she be worthy of her father? So, she could only endure it. What a handsome young man. Gu Yuexuan originally wanted to bully Gu Qinger again, but suddenly she caught a glimpse of Gu Changqing's position from the corner of her eyes, and her eyes lit up. Gu Changqing was handsome, drinking and listening to music alone, which had attracted the attention of many women. Gu Yuexuan suddenly saw it, and her heart was slightly moved. She is a face control. Super face control. The senior brother in the sect that she likes is because he is good looking. But that senior brother is compared with Gu Changqing in front of her. It is the first time that Gu Yuexuan has seen such a good-looking man. Standing up, Gu Yuexuan went downstairs directly. The disciples of Chengqin Pavilion looked at each other. Gu Qinger also breathed a sigh of relief. She looked at Gu Changqing below, with a little gratitude in her beautiful eyes. If it weren't for Gu Yuexuan's sudden change of target, I'm afraid I would have to suffer some torture. Gu Qinger exclaimed softly. It's not because of Gu Changqing's appearance. Gu Changqing is indeed very handsome, but she is different from Gu Yuexuan. She is not a face control. What makes her a little concerned is she feels a little familiar with Gu Changqing. Illusion. After staring at Gu Changqing carefully for a few times, she found that she really didn't know Gu Changqing. It was also the first time she saw him. But why did she have this feeling? So strange. "Sir, can I sit down?" Below, Gu Yuexuan had come to Gu Changqing's table, changed her previous unruly image, and asked in a delicate voice. Although she was asking, she had already sat down. Gu Changqing glanced at her. "No!" After saying that, Gu Changqing looked away again, completely ignoring Gu Yuexuan. Gu Yuexuan was stunned. She had thought of many possibilities, but she had never thought that this would be the case. She was rejected, and the rejection was so straightforward. Her face turned pale. Gu Changqing's no directly blocked all her prepared words. The scene on the second floor just now was so noisy that it was hard for Gu Changqing not to notice it. He didn't think he had anything to talk about with this unruly girl. Wasting his time, Gu Yuexuan suppressed the anger in her heart and got up and left. Back on the second floor, Gu Yuexuan, with a grim expression, looked at Gu Qinger, who was sitting outside the crowd, and was furious. "Are you a small outer disciple qualified to sit here? Get out of here." Gu Qinger heard the words and stood up silently, went downstairs, and sat down at random. "Senior sister Gu, don't be angry. Don't be angry. That stinky boy really doesn't know what's good for him. Yes, it's his blessing that Senior Sister Gu likes him. If he knew that Senior Sister Gu is the daughter of the Deputy Pavilion Master of Chengxin Pavilion, I'm afraid he would regret it to death. If fighting was not prohibited on the ship, I would definitely teach him a lesson for Senior Sister. A group of supporters began to comfort Gu Yuexuan. After a round of comfort, Gu Yuexuan's expression finally eased a little. But the scene she saw next made her completely explode. Gu Yuexuan stared at the place where Gu Qinger was sitting on the first floor below. There, Gu Chongqing appeared in front of Gu Qinger at some point, and the two were chatting about something? Gu Yuexuan's chest kept rising and falling, and it was obvious that she was very angry. The disciples of Chengxin Pavilion also saw this scene and were speechless. This time, I don't know how to comfort her. This is a bit too embarrassing. Just now, Gu Yuexuan took the initiative to approach Gu Chongqing, but Gu Chongqing was too lazy to reply to her and treated her as air. Now, Gu Chongqing, who was not polite to Gu Yuexuan, took the initiative to find Gu Qinger. Gu Yuexuan was so angry. Why? Why do all men revolve around that little bitch? Senior brother Han is like this, and so is Gu Chongqing. Why? Just because she is prettier than him. Below, Gu Chongqing took the initiative to find Gu Qinger. It's not because of her looks. Gu Qinger is beautiful, but she is still far inferior to his wife Zhang Liangsun. What makes Gu Chongqing concerned is that he has an inexplicable feeling towards Gu Qinger. Gu Qinger, who was approached by Gu Chongqing, shrank like a frightened little rabbit and glanced at Gu Yuexuan, who looked extremely ugly on the second floor tea house, and thought to herself that it was not good. Can I sit down? Gu Chongqing looked at the nervous Gu Qinger and asked with a smile. Yes, Gu Qinger said weakly. After sitting down, Gu Chongqing said, you may not believe it, but I feel a little familiar with you, but it's obviously the first time we meet. After saying that, Gu Chongqing regretted it again. Would his words be considered as an excuse to deliberately come and chat with you? Well, it is true that they are a bit similar, but it is not an excuse. Gu Chongqing really felt a sense of familiarity in her. It was strange, because this was their first meeting. Gu Qinger suddenly looked at Gu Chongqing. Does the young master have this feeling? Actually, I do too, but we don't know each other. Is the young lady's surname Gu? Gu Chongqing suddenly thought of something. Gu Qinger nodded her head frantically. My name is Gu Qinger. Gu Chongqing. Gu Qinger was a little shocked. The young master's surname is also Gu, so the familiarity between the two did not seem to be an illusion. Gu Chongqing probably knew what was going on. Gu Qinger in front of him was not his relative, but they were from the same clan. In the most glorious period of tens of thousands of years ago, the Gu family had tens of thousands of direct descendants alone, and even more collateral branches. Later, the Gu family fell into decline and fell apart, scattered all over the spirit realm, and some branches even left the spirit realm. Tens of thousands of years later, there are probably not many branches of the Gu family left, but there are still some. The Gu family behind Gu Qinger was one of the former branches of the Gu family. The Gu family in Jianglan City, where Chongqing is from, is also one of them. In other words, Brother Chongqing and I are from the same clan. No wonder I had an indescribable feeling when I saw Brother Chongqing for the first time. It turns out that we have the same blood flowing in our bodies. Gu Qinger was very excited. Daddy had mentioned the Gu family to her before, and she only knew from then on that the former Gu family was so powerful. But her father also said that no one knows how many branches of the Gu family still exist today. Maybe only their branch is left. Over the years, Daddy has been asking about the news of the descendants of the Gu family, but to no avail. Instead, she met a member of the Gu family from another branch first, Hanqin Empire. It's so far away. No wonder my father couldn't get any news. Hanqin Empire is too far away. During the conversation, Gu Chongqing learned that Gu Qinger's Gu family was located on an island called Wangqin Island. Their strength was much worse than that of Zhang Cheng's Gu family. There was not even a powerful person in the family. The strongest person was Gu Qinger's father. He was a perfect ninefold true spirit. It was really miserable. Then, the two talked a lot, and Gu Qinger seemed very excited. I can't wait to tell Dad about this news. If Dad knew about this, he would be very happy, seeing that the two were chatting so happily. Gu Yuexuan on the second floor tea house was even more furious. She threw her sleeves and went back to the wing room directly. Out of sight, out of mind. She even started to plan how to torture Gu Qinger, the little bitch. That night, Gu Chongqing and Gu Qinger chatted for a long time, until late at night. Gu Qinger was reluctant to leave. Brother Chongqing, I have to go back. Otherwise, Senior Sister Gu will be angry. Gu Chongqing stopped her and motioned her to sit down. What's the difference between going back early and late? Even if you go back early, will she let you go? Gu Qinger was speechless. Gu Chongqing was telling the truth. Sit down. From now on, with me here, no one can bully you. As for Chengxin Pavilion, if they are all this kind of people, then don't stay. Gu Chongqing naturally couldn't let Gu Qinger go back. He didn't know that Gu Qinger was of the same clan as him before. But now that he knew, he would not only not let Gu Qinger go back, but he would not let Gu Yuexuan bully Gu Qinger, just like that. Not everyone can bully his Gu clan members. But Gu Qinger hesitated. From Gu Chongqing, she learned about the situation of the Gu family in Jianglan City. Although they were stronger than the Gu family in Wangqin Island, they were limited. If they faced a behemoth like Chengxin Pavilion, Chengxin Pavilion has a half-step king-level expert in charge. If she went back, she would at most be bullied and humiliated for a while. She didn't want to implicate Gu Changqing and the Gu family in Jianglan City behind him. Nothing to worry about. I'll get you a room later. Live next to me. Gu Changqing's attitude was very tough, and he didn't give Gu Qinger any chance to refuse. The next day, after Gu Yuexuan woke up, all the disciples of Chengchen Pavilion gathered together, but Gu Qinger was the only one missing. Dong Hao, that little bitch hasn't come back since last night. The Chengchen Pavilion disciple named Dong Hao hurriedly said, Sister, Gu Qinger hasn't come back. What a bitch. She hooked up with someone on the first day we met. Bitch. Gu Yuexuan didn't sleep well last night and was furious. What happened to make Schwanner so angry? Come. Tell Uncle Wang. At this time, the door of the hall was pushed open, and an old man walked in. Looking at the cursing Gu Yuexuan, he immediately smiled and asked. There were more than a dozen teams in this Chengchen Pavilion training, and each team was led by 2 to 3 Jiejing elders. The old man who called himself Uncle Wang, named Wang Zhong, was the leader of Gu Yuexuan's team. Unlike other team, Gu Yuexuan's team only has 1 elder guard, but the strength of this elder Wang Zhong is stronger than the 2 or 3 elders in other teams combined. This was arranged by the Deputy Pavilion Master himself. After all, it is the team where the Deputy Pavilion Master's daughter is. Uncle Wang, seeing the person coming. Gu Yuexuan immediately put on a wrong look. It's Gu Qinger. She got together with a man she just met last night and didn't come back all night. It's simply a disgrace to my Chengchen Pavilion. Why does such a person still stay in Chengchen Pavilion? It shames my Chengchen Pavilion. Oh, there is such a thing. Wang Zhong looked around, and everyone he saw nodded. But Wang Zhong still didn't believe it. He knew too well what kind of person Gu Yuexuan was. She was willful and willful, relying on her father being the Deputy Pavilion Master. She was arrogant and domineering in the sect on weekdays. What she said might not be true. Bang! At this time, the door was pushed open again. Elder Yang, why did you just come back? Another training team came in through the door. If Gu Changqing was here, he would definitely recognize that these people were the ones from Chengchen Pavilion that he had saved not long ago. Why are there only a few of you? Elder Romei, Elder Ping, and other disciples, looking at Yang Zhen, Huang Yingying, and others, who were left with only a few people. Elder Wang was puzzled. They are all dead, Yang Zhen said with some sorrow. What? All dead? Everyone's face changed? A team has at least 20 to 30 disciples. Now that only a few people have returned, the casualties are quite heavy. What's going on? What happened? Dozens of disciples died. This is a big deal. You have to know that those who came out for training this time are all elite disciples of Chengchen Pavilion, core, inner sect, and several outstanding outer sect disciples. Every death is a big loss for Chengchen Pavilion. Dozens of them died, which was definitely a heavy blow to Chengchen Pavilion. We encountered a king-level demon king during our training. Elder Rumei and Elder Ping both died while escaping to buy us a little time to escape. Boom! Everyone was shocked. What? King-level demon king? Old Yang, are you kidding me? Wang Zhong said in a low voice. It's not that he doesn't believe Elder Yang. He knows Yang Zhen very well. He can't make up stories to evade responsibility. But this matter is really too unbelievable. How could a king-level demon king appear in the shallow sea area? How dare I joke with you about this kind of thing? There were quite a few people who witnessed it at the time. It won't take long for the news to spread in the sea area. Then how did you survive? Wang Zhong asked again. If they really encountered a king-level demon king, they couldn't be alive? A passing king-level expert saved us. Otherwise, our team would have been wiped out. Yang Zhen smiled bitterly. He still blamed himself for not being able to protect his disciples. Wang Zhong sighed and patted Yang Zhen on the shoulder. It's not your fault. A king-level demon king, let alone you, even me, or the pavilion master, would be dead in front of him. You are lucky to be alive. We will return to the sect immediately and inform the pavilion master of this. Bang! Just then, the door opened again, but it was not beaten open, but blasted open. Gu Changqing came with Gu Qinger. Oh, little bitch. You still have the nerve to come back and bring your lover with you. Gu Yuexuan saw Gu Qinger beside Gu Changqing at a glance. Gu Changqing slapped her without saying a word. Bang! With a muffled sound. Gu Yuexuan flew backwards. Blood spilled all over the ground, and she didn't even have time to scream. This scene happened suddenly, without any warning. Everyone was stunned. No one expected that Gu Changqing would dare to attack Gu Yuexuan in front of Wang Zhong and Yang Zhen, 2 elders of the Dust Heart Pavilion. Wang Zhong didn't expect it either. After coming to his senses, Wang Zhong's face was particularly ugly. Originally, he was very anxious because of the death of his disciple. Now someone attacked his disciple of the Dust Heart Pavilion without saying a word, and that person was Gu Yuexuan. The Gu Yuexuan that the Deputy Pavilion Master personally asked him to take good care of. If Gu Yuexuan had any problems, how would he explain to the Deputy Pavilion Master when he returned, just as he was about to take action? Yang Zhen's words made him stop the next move. Senior, is it you? Yang Zhen looked at Gu Changqing in surprise. Gu Changqing left a very deep impression on him. With just one sword, he killed the Demon King at the King level. Too terrible. But he never expected to meet Gu Changqing here again. Senior. Wang Zhong looked at Yang Zhen in confusion, but did not continue to attack. Yang Zhen's call of senior made him feel a little uneasy, as an elder of the Dust Heart Pavilion. Yang Zhen's cultivation reached the 6th level of the Tribulation Realm. Although he was not as good as himself, he could be called a senior. This senior is the King Realm expert who saved us, as I said before. Boom! When these words came out, Everyone's heart was shocked. Gu Changqing is a king realm expert. What a joke. Except for Yang Zhen, Huang Yingying, and a few others. Everyone's first reaction was disbelief. A king realm expert in his 20s. What a fairy tale. Gu Changqing also recognized Yang Zhen and the other, but ignored them. Now he has a bad impression of the Dust Heart Pavilion. Gu Qinger behind Gu Changqing also covered her mouth in shock. Brother Changqing is a king realm expert. On the ground, Gu Yuexin slowly climbed up. Gu Changqing's slap directly knocked her unconscious. The right side of her face was already bloody, and she covered her face with disbelief in her eyes. Was she beaten? From childhood to adulthood, even her father had never beaten her? When you bullied Qinger, did you ever think that there would be such a day? Gu Changqing walked towards Gu Yuexin step by step. This senior, bang! Wang Zhong was directly blown out of the ship. If you plead for her again, you will die. The disciples of Chengxin Pavilion felt their scalps tingling. Elder Wang Zhong, one of the strongest elders of Chengxin Pavilion, he couldn't even block a single move in front of Gu Changqing. They had completely believed what Elder Yang had just said. A powerful king? This young man was actually a powerful king. Even more powerful than the Pavilion Master. Many people present saw a king-level being for the first time, and their hearts were filled with turmoil. How dare you bully my sister? How do you want to die? Clan sister. Gu Qinger is the clan sister of this king-level expert. At this moment, everyone finally understood why Gu Changqing stood up for Gu Qinger. But isn't Gu Qinger's family a small family that doesn't even have a calamity level? How could it be related to a king-level expert? But no matter how much they dare not believe it, the facts are in front of them. I was wrong. Senior. I don't dare to do it again. I didn't know that Gu Qinger was your clan sister. Gu Yuexin knelt down on the ground, kowtowed, and begged for mercy, crying and kowtowing. But Gu Changqing was unmoved. Swish. A spiritual sword pierced through the chest, and the vitality of Gu Yuexin was rapidly dissipating. On the other side, Wang Zhong, the elder of Chengxin Pavilion, who was blown away by Gu Changqing's sword, returned to the ship. At this moment, his body was in a very bad condition and he was seriously injured. Looking at Gu Yuexin's body, he felt very complicated, but he didn't dare to say a word. Gu Changqing took Gu Qinger away, but said one thing before leaving. Her father is probably not a good guy to raise such a daughter. Let your pavilion master kill him. I will go to Chengxin Pavilion soon. If the deputy pavilion master is still alive, all of you in Chengxin Pavilion will die. One sentence directly determined the life and death of a deputy pavilion master. After saying that, Gu Changqing took Gu Qinger and stepped into the air, leaving behind the people in Chengxin Pavilion who dared not breathe. Everyone looked at me. I looked at you. It's not that sad. Even many disciples felt that this was a bit gloating. This Gu Yuexin, it's all her own fault. Usually she is arrogant and domineering in the sect, and many people have been bullied by her, but they dare not speak out. This time she met a tough guy. It's all she deserves. Elder Yang came over and glanced at Wang Zhong. Elder Wang, are you okay? Wang Zhong shook his head. I'm not going to die? The senior held back. Of course he held back. Otherwise, he was only a 7th level robbery realm master. Even if the king realm master attacked casually, he couldn't resist it. I just don't know how to explain to the deputy pavilion master after I go back. Alas, when I came here, he also told me to take good care of Xuaner. I say? Lao Wang, you were beaten stupid. Explain. What's there to explain to a dead person? Dead person. Wang Zhong suddenly realized that he was stunned. 3 days later, Gu Changqing and Gu Qinger arrived at Haiyu Island. Haiyu Island is not big. There is only one city on the island, named after the island, Haiyu City. Gu Changqing came just in time. In 2 days, Haiyu Auction House, the largest auction house in Haiyu City, will hold a grand auction, and many good things will be auctioned. Haiyu Auction House is jointly controlled by the 3 semi-king families on the island. Gu Changqing plans to accompany Gu Qinger back to Gu's home on Wangqin Island after attending the auction. On the way, they pass Chengxin Island where Chengxin Pavilion is located. Gu Changqing's previous warning was not a joke. If he got the news that the deputy pavilion master was not dead or escaped, then Chengxin Pavilion would no longer have any need to exist. At the same time, Chengxin Island is where Chengxin Pavilion is located. The Pavilion Master, Deputy Pavilion Master, and all the senior members of Chengxin Pavilion have been waiting here for a long time, ready to welcome the disciples who have returned from training. Not long after, when the ships docked at the port, it meant that the elders and disciples who went out for training had all returned. The Pavilion Master of Chengxin Pavilion was wearing a blue robe. He was not very old, about 40 years old. The Pavilion Master of Chengxin Pavilion was not simple. More than 20 years ago, Chengxin Pavilion was just an ordinary small sect in the Langxi Islands. Since he took over as the Pavilion Master of Chengxin Pavilion, in the next 20 years, Chengxin Pavilion has developed rapidly, directly from an unknown small sect to one of the most powerful sects in this archipelago. He is a legendary figure, and now he is not too old, and there may be hope that he will step into the king realm in the future. The Deputy Pavilion Master of Chengxin Pavilion, named Gu Ming, is an old man with white hair. He has perfected the 9th level of the Tribulation Realm and is the second strongest person in Chengshin Pavilion after the Pavilion Master. He was in a good mood today. His daughter found the spiritual wood she asked him to find and said that she wanted to decorate her house. Wait for her to come back and give her a surprise. The head of Chengshin Pavilion had no sons, but he had a daughter in his old age. He treasured this daughter very much. No matter what Gu Yuexuan asked for, he would try his best to meet her. The reason why Gu Yuexuan became so willful and capricious was mostly because Gu Ming doted on her too much. As the disciples and elders returned one by one, Gu Ming finally saw Wang Zhong and hurried over. Elder Wang, can you please? I'm back. Where's Schwanner? Come on. I've prepared a surprise for her. She kept talking to me some time ago, saying that she wanted a piece of Yuanling wood to decorate her room. It took me a long time to find it, but hard work pays off, and I finally found it. Wang Zhong looked at the excited old man in front of him and shook his head. Yuanling wood. Just right. Make a good coffin for your daughter. Huh. Gu Ming was stunned and thought he had heard it wrong at first. Coffin. What do you mean? Wang Zhong ignored him and looked at the master of Chengshin Pavilion and the senior members of Chengshin Pavilion. Everyone. What are you waiting for? Before Wang Zhong came back, he had someone send a message to the master of Chengshin Pavilion in advance, fearing that Gu Ming would run away. Once Gu Ming ran away, the entire Chengshin Pavilion would be buried with him. An inexplicable sense of crisis arose from the bottom of Gu Ming's heart. He was about to retreat, but bang! The master of Chengshin Pavilion, who was next to Gu Ming, slapped his palm directly and hit Gu Ming on the back. Puff! A mouthful of blood spurted out, and Gu Ming looked at the master of Chengshin Pavilion behind him in disbelief. One blow. A heavy blow. Master. Why? Gu Ming. Ask myself. I have done my best over the years and have never done anything to let down Chengshin Pavilion. Why? Because your precious daughter has provoked an untouchable existence for my Chengshin Pavilion. A powerful king. The master of Chengshin Pavilion had a calm face and a cold voice, and this was not an ordinary king-level strongman. He knew very well what it meant to kill a king-level demon king with one sword, who was about 20 years old. This king-level strongman was not only extremely evil, but also very likely to come from a big force. The Holy Land Divine Court. Only forces of that level could cultivate such an evil genius. A 20-year-old king-level strongman was scary to think about. I've said before that if you indulge your daughter like this, something will happen sooner or later, but you don't listen. That king-level strongman said that if you don't die, hundreds of people in our Chengshin Pavilion will die. So don't blame me. Blame yourself. Blame your precious daughter. And you didn't let Chengshin Pavilion down. Do you believe what you said yourself? Do you really think that this pavilion master doesn't know about your private affairs? Go down and accompany your daughter. The elders of Chengshin Pavilion surrounded Gu Ming together. Haiyu City. After arriving on the island, Gu Chongqing directly found an inn and stayed there with Gu Qinger. There were still nearly 2 days before the auction started. During this period, you can have a good stroll on the island. Although Gu Chongqing has been in this world for more than 10 years, it is the first time for him to come to such a place for cultivators and warriors to trade. It is very novel. After telling Gu Qinger a few words and leaving a sound transmission note, Gu Chongqing left the inn and walked towards the Haiyu auction house. Gu Chongqing has a lot of elixirs and materials from the Monster King, which can be sent for auction. Haiyu City is worthy of being a trading holy place in the nearby sea area. Both sides of the street are full of markets and vendors selling various weapons, spiritual medicines, monster furs, teeth and bones. It is very lively. Walk along the street and you will reach the end of the street, which is the Haiyu Auction House. Haiyu Auction House is located in the center of the city, a tower about 30 feet high. Welcome. Are you here to bid or... As soon as he entered the auction house, a manager came up to him with a very warm and polite attitude. Call the person in charge of your auction house. The things that Gu Chongqing wanted to bid were materials from the Demon King and many elixir-level elixirs. The price was high, and it was not something that a small manager could decide. Gu Chongqing's words made the manager frown and said with a smile, I don't know what you want to bid. I am one of the managers of the auction house. Most transactions can be negotiated with me. Oh! Gu Chongqing glanced at him. Materials from king-level demon beasts. You can also... King-level demon beasts? The manager was stunned and looked at Gu Chongqing deeply. Seeing his appearance, Gu Chongqing threw out a storage bag without saying a word. The manager caught it and probed inside with his spiritual consciousness. Hiss. When he saw a huge corpse of a monster lying quietly in the storage bag, the person in charge took a deep breath. I'll ask the person in charge to come now. Please wait for a moment. The person in charge's voice trembled a little. After returning the storage bag to Gu Chongqing, he shouted to the people around, Come on, take this young master to the VIP room. Gu Chongqing came to a gorgeous and elegant room under the guidance of the staff. Not long after, a charming woman dressed in purple silk appeared in the private room where Gu Chongqing was. Sir, I've been waiting for a long time. My name is Muzi, and I'm one of the persons in charge of the auction house. The beautiful woman was only in her 30s, and her whole body was full of mature breath, like a delicate and ripe fruit, which made people want to take a bite. Her every move was full of temptation. Even Gu Changqing was distracted for a moment. Charming body. Gu Changqing checked it with the system. And it was indeed. Natural charming body blue. Charming body is a charming body, but it is not a high-level charming body. Only blue rating. However, there are few people with charming bodies, and there may not be one among millions of people. People with charming bodies are born to do business, and they are also the candidates for wives and Taoist partners that countless practitioners dream of, and they are the best in the world. This Muzi, fortunately, was born in a semi-king force like Haiyue auction house. Otherwise, she would have been captured and used as a female pet furnace. Gu Changqing. After introducing each other, Gu Changqing went straight to the point and handed over the storage bag. Muzi was a little surprised. When Gu Changqing saw her, he was distracted for only a moment, and then he recovered. This control is much stronger than most young people she has seen. In the past, those young men who first saw her all wanted to eat her alive. In her 20s, she was full of vigor and vitality. Not many people could stand up to her charm at this age. Taking the storage bag handed over by Gu Changqing, Muzi explored it with her spiritual sense. Although the person in charge had told her before coming, she couldn't help but cover her mouth when she saw the huge corpse of the Demon King level. Although it is one of the largest auction houses in the nearby sea area, the number of Demon King level corpse materials auctioned by Haiyue Auction House is also very few. In the shallow sea area, the probability of the appearance of the Demon King is surprisingly low. Unless you go deep into the deep sea of the Wanyao Sea to hunt, there are not many people who can have this strength in the entire southern sea area of the Wanyao Sea. Even the King Realm strongmen dare not easily set foot in the deep sea area. It is the territory of demon beasts. If the King Realm strongmen enter, it is also dangerous. Mr. I'm asking you a question. Where did you get this Water Wolf King's corpse? After saying that, as if afraid that Gu Changqing would misunderstand, Muzi added, Z has no other intentions. I'm just a little curious. If you don't want to tell me, forget it. It was only at this time that Gu Changqing realized that what was the name of the Demon King he killed? He smiled and said, I killed it myself. Muzi rolled her eyes and thought, if you don't want to say it, don't say it. It's a lie to make up such a reason that people will know it's fake. Muzi's reaction was within Gu Changqing's expectations. It's normal for Muzi not to believe it. It's impossible for others to believe it. But what Gu Changqing said is indeed true. If I pretend to be an old man, will it be more credible? Gu Changqing shrugged and didn't explain anything. What I said is the truth. It's up to Muzi to believe it or not. In addition to these, there is a batch of elixirs. The elixirs will not be auctioned. See what price your auction house can offer. If it's suitable, I will sell it directly to your auction house. Gu Changqing took out another storage bag and handed it to Muzi. Muzi glanced at the storage bag, and the mood that had just calmed down became excited again. Huiyuan pill, Juki pill, Bingson pill, Jedu pill. In the storage bag, there are all kinds of common pills, and there are quite a lot of them. This is not the point. The point is, almost all of them are Danwen grade. Danwen grade pills are not easy to refine. Even if a high-level alchemist refines a low-level pill, such as a third-level alchemist refining a first-level pill, it may not be possible to refine a Danwen grade pill. Moreover, the pills in this storage bag all have multiple Danwen. The highest even has 9 or 8 patterns. The one who refined this batch of pills must be a Dan Emperor, right? Dan Emperor. Is there a Dan Emperor in the Wanyao Sea? There have been Dan Emperors in history, but for hundreds of years, let alone Dan Emperors. There have been few Dan Kings. After taking a deep look at Gu Changqing, Muzi wondered if Gu Changqing had some bad luck and found a cave left by his ancestors. Another complete corpse of the Demon King, and a large number of pill-patterned elixirs. The novel was taken from the Rollies website. Close where you're reading it and support us on our website for more free novels. Muzi thought for a while. 26 Huiyuan pills, 3 with 8 patterns, 10 with 7 patterns. After counting, Muzi made an offer. The auction house is willing to pay 53,000 low-grade spirit stones to buy this batch of pills in Mr. Gu's hands. What do you think, Mr. Gu? Before Gu Changqing came, he also learned about the prices of many pills. The price given by Muzi was not low. As for this corpse of the Demon King, if it is to be auctioned, Haiyue Auction House will charge 5% of the final transaction price as a handling fee. What do you think, Mr. Gu? Don't worry, Mr. Gu. As long as you hand it over to Haiyue Auction House, Z will definitely do his best to bid a price that satisfies you. Okay, Gu Changqing was too lazy to bargain for that little spirit stone. This time, the Demon King was a pleasant surprise. The corpse of the Water Wolf King was more valuable than the pills in his storage bag. By the way, if there are still pill-grade pills, can your auction house take them? Before leaving, Gu Changqing suddenly asked. He has no pills on him now, but he can refine them. If the Haiyue Auction House can take them, it will save Gu Changqing from having to find other places to sell them. Do you still have any on you? Young master. Muzi was shocked. The storage bag that Gu Changqing gave her just now had enough pills? I thought that was all. But from Gu Changqing's tone, he seemed to have more. No. But I can refine them again. If your auction house can take them, we may be able to have long-term cooperation. Muzi, in Muzi's heart, Gu Changqing was getting more and more outrageous. You killed the Demon King and refined the 2nd and 3rd grade Danwen level elixirs. Do you think you are the Emperor of elixirs? Sure. No matter how many you have, my Haiyue Auction House can take them all. Elixirs, especially those for healing, restoring spiritual power, and detoxification, have always been in short supply. There are so many sects and cultivators in the southern part of the Wanyao Sea, and the demand for elixirs is definitely an extremely large number. There is no situation where they cannot be sold. That's good. Let's go. Without staying for long, Gu Changqing left directly, leaving behind Muzi with a depressed look. Muzi looked at Gu Changqing's back and shook her head. She didn't have a good impression of Gu Changqing, mainly because this guy was too unreliable, killing the Demon King one moment and refining Danwen level elixirs the next. After Gu Changqing left, an old man appeared here from nowhere behind Muzi, Yin Taishang. The appearance of the old man startled Muzi, and she hurriedly saluted respectfully. Haiyue Auction House is jointly controlled by the 5 semi-king families. Each of the 5 semi-king families has at least 1 semi-king. The Mu family ranks second among the 5 semi-king families, with 2 Yin Taisheng who appeared in the room at this time. He is one of the 2 half-kings of the Mu family, Xiao Yiter. What do you think of this person? The person that Yin Taisheng was referring to was naturally Gu Changqing, who had just left. Not very good. Full of lies? Yin Taisheng smiled slightly. You are wrong. What he said may not be a lie, but it is too outrageous in your opinion. This time it was Mu Zi's turn to be stunned. Not necessarily all lies. What do you mean? Just a day ago, I got the news that a Xuanwang level demon king appeared in the southern part of the Wanyao Sea, but was quickly killed by a passing king level strongman. And it is said that only 1 sword was used. If my guess is correct, the demon king in the rumor is the same as the one in your storage ring. And I also saw that the pills he gave were all Danwen level, and the pills were round and full. And there was still a faint medicinal fragrance. Obviously, they were not kept for many years, but were just refined no more than 3 months ago. What? This time? Muzi's face was full of horror. Is what Gu Changqing said true? He didn't lie from beginning to end. Just think, it's too outrageous, and don't believe it. Did I misunderstand him? 20 years old, king level. An extraordinary person has come to the Wanyao Sea? Yin Taisheng sighed. Xiao Yiter, when this young Master Gu comes again, you must not neglect him. If you can make friends with him, it will definitely be a great help to our Mu family. Yin Taisheng did not blame Mu Zi. This matter was indeed too outrageous. A 20-year-old King Realm expert was definitely a demon at the level of the spiritual list. He actually appeared in the small Wanyao Nanhai. Yer understand, Mu Zi has not recovered from the shock. A 20-year-old King Realm expert? This is too outrageous. There are geniuses in the southern part of the Wanyao Nanhai. The one from the Zhenyu sect cultivated to the Calamity Realm at the age of 20. But compared with Gu Changqing, it's not the same level. The same concept. While being shocked, she was a little uneasy. Would her actions just now cause his dissatisfaction? Xiao Yiter, if I remember correctly, you are not married yet, right? You are not young anymore. I think this young Master Gu is very good. Very good. Yin Taisheng laughed, and Mu Zi blushed immediately. Shangri-La, please stop making fun of me. If what you said is true, I will not be able to look down on you. She is born with a charming body, which is rare. It is a great opportunity for you to marry such a person, even if she is a concubine. I just said it casually. I am leaving. After saying that, Sheng Yin disappeared directly in the private room.